minutes ago of the transfer window. Still time for things to happen. Arsenal in the last few minutes has confirmed the $27 million signing of Takahiro Tomiyasu, Japanese international defender, comes in today on the right of your screen. Out has gone 3 players, including Hector Bellerin, who's gone to Real Betis for the season on loan. Now, they've spent money. You can see it on the left of your screen, and this is the total $221 million now spent by Arsenal in the summer, more than any other club, and significantly so as well. United's second with $186 million. So let's take you back live to West London, to the Sky Sports studios, and our colleague David Ornstein, our Premier League insider. So what is going on, David? Because you can't say that Mikel Arteta's not being backed. He's spending the money and they're bottom of the league.
Goodness me, has he been backed to some extent, Rebecca. The sort of money that Arsene Wenger would have loved to have spent when he was in charge, but now is the true test, because Mikel Arteta will need to deliver. At the moment, he is not, and that's why he's under pressure. But let's look at these signings. They are young players with high potential. Arsenal will hope that they can help them succeed now, or at least get out of the mess that they're in. But this is a long-term project. So when you look at the likes of Aaron Ramsdale, Ben White, Lokonga, Tavares, Odegaard, Tomiyasu, they're all in that 21, 22, 23 age bracket. They're not on massive wages, and the transfer fees are not their fault. And those fees have been spread out over a long period. The owners have put their money where their mouths are. They have supported Mikel Arteta and Edu, the technical director. And I've got to say, they deserve credit. But they will continue to be under scrutiny because Arsenal have high expectations, especially their supporters. And right now they are fighting fires, left, right and centre, on and off the pitch. They've got some unhappy players. One left on loan, Hector Bellerin. Another stayed, Ainsley Maitland-Niles. He has had clear-the-air talks with Mikel Arteta at the club's training ground today. And despite his proposed loan move to Everton being denied and him being very upset and taking to Instagram to express that displeasure, those clear-the-air talks have brought a positive resolution. He'll hope to be reintegrated. Mikel Arteta needs to win the next 2 games after the international break and try and rebuild this. All of this is taking place under the scrutiny of Amazon cameras. They're filming a documentary. It's something that not everybody at Arsenal is happy about. However, they'll have to put up with it, and it's a great story for us to look at as well. But this has been a fascinating summer, and there are so many eyes, not only here in the UK, but all over the world on Arsenal Football Club. It's one to watch.
David, thank you very much. Well, more stories as well today coming out of Arsenal earlier this morning. David himself screen grabbed this. He's on everything, I tell you. This is the Instagram story of Ainsley Maitland-Niles, who last season was on loan at West Brom. He said this on his story today: all I want to do is go where I'm wanted and where I'm going to play. 3 crying emojis tagging in his club, Arsenal. Now, since he put that on Instagram, Maitland-Niles has had clear-the-air talks, apparently, with Mikel Arteta. Mikel Arteta has assured him he is in his plans. This club, Tim, take it away.
Well, yeah, that there shows me my biggest concern is the lack of discipline and the lack of leadership within that club. Clearly, air talks after the fact mean nothing. Not when there continues to be this habit of sending offs and players going against the rules and breaking COVID protocol. Look, I like the signings they made. I like Tomiyasu. I covered him in the Olympics quite a lot. I think he's a really good defender. I think he's going to do well. I think Ben White's a good defender that they brought in. He needs time. They've had some COVID issues, as I mentioned. They've got a lot of young talent. Smith Rowe, Saka. It's there. But we saw on the weekend, they got beat, and they just went out with a whimper. It was so easy. And we talk about, when we talk about Mikel Arteta, in order to buy time, you have to show some sort of progress, more discipline, more leadership, climbing up the table. And with this team, although I like some of the signings, they're very much Arsenal signings to me. OK, so he's been there for nearly 2 years. Mm-hmm. Would you say there's been any progress? Well, not a ton, because he won the FA Cup initially, which bought him some time. But since, we've seen the same patterns over and over. And it's concerning because there doesn't seem like there seems to be this disconnect between the players and the management and the staff. And yet, even though we all see it, it never gets addressed publicly. It's interesting that Tim says that we haven't seen progress, because I think there's young talent. I think there has been bits of progress. But for me, and I can only talk for myself, when you've got a team, Rebecca, that's got Kolasinac, Callum Chambers, Rob Holding, Cedric Suarez, Granit Xhaka, Bert Leno to a certain degree, and then you can throw the front two in, Aubameyang and Lacazette, who I still don't know
if they're good Arsenal players, if they really want to be there and play. So for all those good kids, and there's some good young talent, and they bought some good players who are coming in this window, but everywhere else, Bex, I'm not really sure where they are. I'm scratching my head. And I have to point to the Aaron Ramsdale, $41 million for an average Premier League goalkeeper. And Tim, if you want to jump in, jump in. But you've got Bernd Leno, who's an average Premier League goalkeeper. Why are you spending another $41 million to get someone who's not going to be your number one and be so much better? He's just going to be probably your number two goalkeeper, who's just very...
I think they believe that he will be the number one going forward. He's 23...
Tim says...
I'm not saying not me. OK, I'm just saying that's what their thought is. He's 23 years of age. They'll feel longer term he's going to be the number one in time or whatever.
I want to come back to you on Arteta. Aaron Ramsdale.
Well, I mean, Robbie always hit the nail on the head. I don't think Leno is brilliant. I think he's pretty good. But Ramsdale's not even close to that. Not even close to that level. So it's a lot of money to pay.
Can't he improve, though, Tim? He's only 23. And by the way, I agree with you. What we've seen him so far, but I'm just saying he's young.
My only thing with the young backs as well, so my last point on this is that sometimes buy a bit for now. I know we're talking about the process and the time. Buendia went from Norwich to Villa when Arsenal were in for him. Jesse Lingard's available now. Go and bring him in. James Tarkowski's at Burnley. Go and get a centre-half who'll go and head a ball. Go and get some people for now who will help those kids for the longer term.
Robbie, I know you support Mikel Arteta. You want him to have more time, so answer me this. Are they in a better position today than they were this time 2 years ago under Unai Emery?
No, but it takes time. It's been an absolute mess. Agreed. But what a big job. We sat here and said it so many times before. This is a huge job. He's right in the middle of a messy job. And you can argue about some of the signings before, absolutely right. The bad decisions of experienced players and Willian and others that signed at the football club. He's trying to address it. Him and Edu, now it's on them. I just feel like, let's see this new-look team play a little bit before we get rid of him.
You don't get time. There's fans in the stadium now.
Well,
you don't get time.
Well, so in the middle of a transitional period at the club that's unprecedented, I just want to see, like... Just like a little bit more time to see some of these players play.
Okay. I want to go back to Arsenal and I want to carry on where we left off with the situation with Mikel Arteta and where this is going and how you think it might play out. I know it's a really hard question, but based on what you know of the club, of their history with managers, what you're seeing week in, week out, what do you think, Mustafa?
Well, I think Tim said it earlier that there's got to be signs of progression. I'm with that. So when we do see this new team on the field, maybe a banging up front, you've got Odegaard, Smith-Rowe, Saka, the new two defenders playing in the side, Lokonga alongside Thomas Partey has been injured. I just want to see the new-look team perform. Now, if they're still struggling to get results when all those guys are out there, then absolutely. But until that time, I think it's crazy that people are talking about he's got to win the next game, he's going to get fired. I guess, listen, I know the football's not been great, and I'm concerned about some of the tactical stuff he's done, the personnel decisions.
Discipline?
Discipline, yeah. Granit Xhaka, why they extend his contract, like, out of the club. You know, and I know Tim's point about sometimes with players that they are what they are. You know, he's been the same with different managers, so I don't get that. But he won't be in the side. The new-look Arsenal team, he won't be in it.
What's improvement? Because I agree, they finished 8th last season. Do you think this team can finish much higher than that?
Difficult, but I think they can. I think they can. And
don't they have to, Rob? Isn't that what, you know, you're Arsenal. We're talking about 8th in the league, and that's OK. We've got to get close to top 6 again, haven't we?
Yeah,
we've got to be better than Leicester. We've got to be better than West Ham.
That's what I mean. When the team gets out there and some of these players start to play, then this is like 3 games in. It's been a difficult schedule. They've had illness and everything else. I just think, you know...
You're right about the fact that you should have time, but... When there's fans in the stadium and they're flying banners and the natives restless, like that's.
So what's the next guy do? What does the next guy do?
I think what didn't help was
the next
Thomas Tuchel came in at Chelsea halfway through the season.
Similar
Frank
situation.
Lampard was a legend, and Thomas Tuchel took on the Champions League final and won. And we saw a difference in players. We saw a difference in system. We saw in-game tactics that we didn't see with Frank. And I think that's what
worries me about this.
Is there a new reality? This is a new reality for Arsenal. They're not going to go and spend all the big money. They need so many players. They've had to sort of lower the average price down
but they're a massive,
because they need so many.
Football club with a massive fan base. They're not going to accept that. And this whole concept of trust the process, that's the silliest thing I've ever heard. Because this team, they spent over $200 million in transfers. There's a manager out there.
What is the process, by the way?
Well, we don't know the process. There's manager or managers out there who can come in and take this team. I want Mikel Arteta. He's a friend of mine. I play with him. I want him to have as much time as possible. I'm saying. It doesn't always happen. Can
I ask you a question? You said he's your friend and you played with him. Yeah. Was he a leader in the dressing room at Everton?
Yeah, he's a leader. He was a leader, but I don't see that now with this current Arsenal club.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host for NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch highlights all season long, and be sure to tune in for Premier League mornings every weekend at 7 a.m. Eastern. And for even more content, head over to Peacock, where we've got live games, original series and a dedicated round-the-clock Premier League channel featuring studio shows, classic matches and much more.